Welcome to It's Alive, the show where we display to you the latest and most interesting projects, be they revitalized corpses of quote-unquote dying genres, or frightening amalgamations of various parts and organs from games you love. This week, we're using the Wayback Machine to remind you that point-and-click adventure games are not only not dead, but a horse that has yet to be beaten to death. Daedalic and Wadjet Eye are perhaps the only groups left that have dedicated their growing game library to preserving the traditional adventure game. Whether we're talking about Gemini Rue or Deponia, these studios are making some of the best traditional point-and-click adventure games to make you think that the 90s were still here. For Daedalic, they have been hard at work creating yet another entry into their growing series of Dark Eye games. The Dark Eye, which has nothing to do with the eerie and disturbing point-and-click adventure game from the 90s by the same name, is Germany's version of Dungeons & Dragons. It's a pen-and-paper role-playing game that, at 4 editions starting all the way back in 1984, is almost as encompassing as D&D itself. While it was originally translated as Arcania, the world of the Dark Eye is Aventuria, which is where Memoria is set. Memoria picks up after the events of the Dark Eye Chains of Satanav, Daedalic's first Dark Eye game. You play as Garon, the hero of Andergast, on his quest to release his fairy friend Nuri from the crow's body she was trapped in during the previous game. While it would help flesh out the characters, there's no need to play Chains of Satanav before picking up Memoria. You also play flashback sequences as Saja, a forgotten princess who came into possession of a demonic staff and whose riddle Garon is tasked with solving in order to cure Nuri. People play adventure games for 2 reasons, the plot and the puzzles. While I'm sure there are people who would whine that they could have used the D&D world for a new point-and-click adventure game, I found discovering the world of Aventuria to be a pleasant and refreshing break from the usual fantasy worlds. Memoria is easily the best voice-acted Daedalic game yet.
A demon?
Oh, Garon, it was so horrible. There were horns growing out of his body all over, and he had a long, glowing staff on his back.
And each of their releases seems to be improving this aspect. The low-class setting of Andergast, the city where Garon lives, makes for a deviation from the usual rich locales and exotic environments of the fantasy genre. That's not to be said there isn't beauty to behold, but it's fun to see both sides of the world. As fascinating as the plot can be, point-and-click adventure games live and die by their puzzles. No one wants to play or replay the infamous disguise puzzle from Gabriel Knight 3. As much as I've enjoyed Daedalic adventure games, they've fallen prey to those obnoxious puzzles, though never to that degree. At this point, I've played about half of Memoria, and I can happily report that you won't be bashing your head against the wall because you have no idea what to do. While I did struggle on a few puzzles, it was mostly from overlooking the obvious solutions because of a lifetime of cat hair mustache training. Seriously, I love them to death, but fuck old point-and-click puzzles. Memoria is an amazing adventure through a beautifully hand-painted world. The visuals are reminiscent of the Monkey Island remakes, and while they suffer from the same rudimentary animation problems, they are still wonderful to look at and serve the game nicely. If you love the not-yet-dead genre of point-and-click adventure games like I do, be sure to check out the Dark Eye Memoria when it releases for digital download on August 30th.